Ang taas sa notes ko nga 15,000 eh. Pero sabi ni sa hearing nga sa'yo, ni DA, Sec Laurel,
Iba, range.
sa kanila, sa kanilang measurement, 10,000 per meter is sufficient. He even implied a one-third savings given apples to apples, assuming this is correct. Yes, thank you.
Mr. Chair, Madam Senator, I think it's important to note that, as correctly pointed out by Senator Lauren earlier, the President already directed us to bring down the cost of materials. So, in all likelihood, that number is going to go down significantly. So, if you will allow us, maybe if we will run our computations based on the new cost of materials, we can maybe by the end of this week already give you a new range, no, for the range per meter for hindi na po yon. Definitely it will not be that anymore.
Mr. Chair is 32B. Oo. Kung sa DA budget, ang FMR ay 32B, sabi ng Chair, at itong kilometro ang magagawa, de kung yung inyong 18,000, sabi ni Sec Laurel ay 10,000, di halos madodoble, di ba? 80% na mai-increase ang haba ng FMR, gaya ng puntos natin sa classroom. So, simple, pag papati ng bahay, di ba? Hindi mo mababayaran yung contractor pag nalaman mo midway na, ano natin yung kontrata, ayusin. Ito, hindi pa naman tayo nagsimula sa 2026, hahaba. So, ibig sabihin po, sa DA budget or isusumitin nyo sa amin, kayo implementing agency, i-check natin, hahaba ang mga FMRs at dapat may coordinates. Thank you.
Opo, and correct po, and in fact, even with respect to classroom, dadami po ang pwede nating itayong classroom dahil sa pagbaba ng detailed unit price ng DPWH. Thank you po.
Thank you for that. Health centers. From the DOH itself, about 300 super health centers built nationwide, mostly by DPWH, were found non-operational, hindi natapos, substandard, etc. I'm not talking about walang gamot o walang tao. It's really kulang o hindi natapos na structures. And second, maaring may mga natapos pero wala naman utilities or staffing na hindi po nyo problema, but when you build, do you coordinate with the LGU or with DOH to ensure that, okay, you will build, may nag-request na politiko, pero wala naman provision ang DOH for staffing or for utilities. So, do you just build blind? O basta build kami without coordinating with the agency na may kapasidad sila for staffing? Thank you.
Right now po, ma'am, I mean, there is coordination, but the coordination with the local governments for these projects with DepEd or with DOH is being done by the lead agency, in this case, the DOH. No? But you're absolutely right. I think that needs room for improvement. No? Because clearly, marami pong mga sitwasyon ngayon na nakita na natin na more coordination is needed. No? Dahil nga po, yung areas na nakatayo na yung building pero wala pang kuryente, nakatayo na yung building pero wala pa ring tubig. So this requires, mahirap po kasi yung turuan, so dapat magtulong-tulong na lang po. So we will see, we will work with the DOH and the DepEd and the other agencies so we can coordinate better, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair, how do we help DPWH do this? Kasi tagatayo sila. Pero hindi pa pag nagtatayo, dapat tanungin sila sa nagpapatayo. O magtatayo kami. Sapat ba yung pondo mo? Sabi na, ay kulang kasi ng 1 million, hihingi naman next year. So, it's a structure na hindi tapos. May mga ganyan. Ganun palagi nakikita when we go around, right? Or, itayo, maayos, pero hindi naman napondohan yung equipment at yung staffing kasi magre-request pa sa DBM o walang gamot. So, karapatan nyo magtanong, itatayo namin to. Handa ba kayong ahensya nagpapagawa, maglagay ng staff, at ng pasilidad. Kung hindi, ba't itatayo? Pero hindi ba nila tungkulin yon na may silbi yung tinatayo nila? At tanong sa ahensyang nagbabudget na linilipat sa kanila yung budget, right?
If I can intervene, Senator Lauren, in fact yan ang isang malaking problema rin ng Department of Health through HPEP, yung health equipment and facilities. Dahil dapat, bago sila nagpapatayo, meron ng coordination with the local government units. Dahil yung LGU, sila bahala sa doktor, nurse, equipment, at yung pang day-to-day to operate. Like for example, kuryente, tubig. But marami rin mga LGU nagsasabi na, hindi namin kaya magkumuha ng doktor, hindi namin kaya magbayad ng kuryente. Kaya na ano rin sila, na walang nagmamando ng mga health centers. No? DPWH, in fairness, is just constructing. Kung anong pinakonstruct, ko-construct. Pero yung operating DOH, malaking problema rin yan sa DOH right now. That's why we have to look at the HFEP funds, which is about 14 billion, very closely. Dahil nasasayang, maraming pondo dun, unfinished hospitals, unfinished rural health centers, unoccupied super health centers. Nasasayang lang yung pondo natin sa health. No?
So how do we deal with that? Is it the DOH sole responsibility? Or before they build, they must ensure that the agency asking them to build has the capacity to operate it, so it's not like a white elephant that was built?
Fund ho talaga, ma'am. Admittedly, nangyari. So, this coming 2026, ang iniisip ko to move forward with the HFEP, wala mo ng mga new super health centers, new rural health centers. Tapusin na muna natin lahat ng mga uncompleted. Lagyan ng tao yung mga unoperational. At yung mga hospitals, marami ho tayong, we approve here in the Senate yung mga hospitals, di ba? Expansion and newly created. Let's fund those expansion and newly created hospitals. Dahil may batas, wala namang pondo. No? So we have to fund them. So yung muna yung naiisip ko to move forward with this. So para hindi nanganganak yung problema.
And if I may po, Mr. Chairman, Madam Senator, that on the super health centers or the hospitals, ang commitment naman po namin is we will work with DOH to ensure naman yung mga ospital at mga healthcare centers na bitin. No, yung pong sinasabi ni Senator Lauren na nakausli yung mga bakal, hindi pa tapos, kailangan po tapusin na, no, finally. And we really welcome the policy now po na wala munang new, tapusin muna natin yung mga hindi pa tapos, and then DOH can ensure that they are operated properly. We welcome that, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much for that.
Ako muna, ma'am. I just have just one question lang. Nawala to. Nawala. Anyways, can you flash yung news report ni Presidente? So, ito yung news over the weekend, Secretary Dizon, about the comment of the President na nakita nyo overpriced by 50%, no, yung mga materials. In fact, in some instances, in fact, pinag-uusapan lang to natin last hearing, and he said we can save as much as 45 billion pesos. No? We agree that in some projects, it can go as high as thousands ka nakita natin. Pero may mga projects rin na mababa. Maraming projects actually, in fairness to the different engineering offices, mababa siya or justified. No, so, ang way forward na naisip natin dito is to submit to us yung materials cost, no? And from there we will use that as a basis to implement the projects. No? But in your opinion, how do we, this is a welcome development, a welcome comment by the President, but how do we operationalize this, no? In your opinion?
Mr. Chairman, this is a very, very good question. No? So, first of all, I think if I may request po, give us some time to finalize the new prices, no, the adjustment in the prices. We think we can do that in roughly a week, no, and that will form part of the new costs, no, moving forward, no. Now, in terms of operationalizing it sa budget, no, 2026 po muna siguro tayo, no. For 2026, if I may make a suggestion, Mr. Chairman, baka po the best course of action will be to come up with a special provision in the budget, essentially stating that savings generated from the reduction of the cost of materials, no, the new cost of materials, must be ano po, and we leave it up to Congress to decide on what to do here, but the savings must be used for very specific items, no, like maybe a menu similar to the menu of the DBM for infrastructure projects, or other expense items, no, in the 2026 budget. No, because definitely po for 2026, magkakaroon po ng malaking savings when we implement the cost of materials, the new cost of materials. So I think the most efficient way to do it is really to just ensure that the savings generated from this for next year will be used the right way, no, based on the wisdom of Congress. No, I think that is the best way to move forward. Now, for 2025 po, no, because there are still, I think, projects that will undergo procurement. No, what we will be doing is we will also be applying the same change in cost to these projects, which will have a natural adjustment in the ABC, no, in the approved budget of the contract. No, and that again will be generated as savings for 2025. So that is just our initial proposal, but we leave it up to the wisdom of Congress, Mr. Chairman.
Because we want to, ito yung pinag-uusapan natin, Senator Laura, no? And we want to reflect that savings hopefully in the budget, so that we can utilize that funds for other purposes, no? Para magamit rin natin to build more schools or build more infrastructure projects. So we want to capture that. Estimate nga ni Presidente 45, no? Estimate nga namin is around 70 to 80 billion, no? But more or less nasa ganun na range na siya. So that's what we want to capture. The last time we talked, you will submit to us an updated DUPA. No?
We will submit an updated CMPD.
CMPD and
Yes,
CMPD also.
CMPD, which translates to the new DUPA.
Okay.
So we
Okay.
will be submitting that. Kaya ba natin ang Biyernes? Okay, the team says we can submit also by Friday. So we can submit everything already by Friday.
By Friday, okay.
Opo.
That will be good kasi doon natin makikita yung pagbaba ng presyo.
Opo. Opo.
And then yun ang gagamitin namin as a basis to capture that savings.
The savings.
No?
And ma-estimate na rin po, no, yung magiging savings
Very-
generated.
Open kami, Secretary, kung meron kayong suggested language on the special provision. Because I can see that you're very open in using those savings. So we're very open if you have any suggestion to that. We can work together on that. No?
Sige po, we will in our cover letter we will provide
Yeah.
suggested language to that effect,
Basta
Mr. Chairman.
ang concept natin, magamit yung savings, whether
Yes.
it's 45 or 70 or 80, makapture natin yun,
Opo.
magamit sa iba.
Tama po.
Alright, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Have an intervention after you about the savings.
I'm Tapos na po ako.
Yes. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, for bringing up the issue of savings. That was actually my next question before I ask for a break. So, hindi pa po nasagot, hindi pa po na-compute, no? But you said by Friday on the total computation or estimate of savings for the 2026, right? Because yeah, naka-flash kanina sa screen, and thank you to the President and to the good Secretary about the lowering of the DUPA. But more than the lowering of the DUPA, meron pa rin ibang pagkukuhanan ng savings. Kasama na ba sa DUPA the cost of equipment rental, overhead contingency, and miscellaneous, yung OCM? Kasama na sa DUPA. Iba pa. Dapat ibaba din yun. Yung cost of equipment rental, overhead, contingency, miscellaneous expense, and yung projected contractor's profit. Diba?
Mr. Chair, as for the equipment rental, no,
Baka
this is
overpriced din yun eh.
this is
Silipin
based
nyo.
on apparently a guidebook na yun lang po ang basis ng DPWH. It's called the ASEL guidebook. Maybe I can ask OIC Undersecretary Esquivel to explain the ASEL guidebook. And then the indirect costs and labor, obviously, ito po ay hindi po kasama ito sa mga gagawin. Ang gagawin lang po natin is the cost of materials. No? Cost of materials po. Opo. And with your permission, Mr. Chairman, Madam Senator, maybe I can just ask OIC Undersecretary. Lara, okay ka ba? Sige pa.
I want to understand, yung cost of materials, kung overpriced yan, hindi ba baka rin naka-overprice lahat eh? Pati yung contingency, yung miscellaneous, yung equipment rental, overhead, bloated lahat yan. Kasi sa ibang ahensyang inupuan namin, lahat bloated eh. Pati yung subscription sa monthly nung Starlink coverage sa isang ahensya, grabing taas din eh.
Yeah.
So magandang, hindi masamang silipin lahat, di ba?
Opo.
Baka-
Sisilipin po namin, Madam Senator, but maybe just to provide context, no, and information, may I ask that OIC Undersecretary Lara be recognized just to explain all the components of the pricing, no, of a certain project or a certain contract.
Thank you, Sec. Good afternoon po. For the direct cost, we subdivided into three components: the material, labor, and equipment. As mentioned earlier, the material we use as reference the construction materials price data, which is issued by DPWH. But for labor, we follow the DOLE, Department of Labor and Employment Memorandum. So we follow their rates. And then for the equipment component, we use the Association for Carriers and Equipment Lessors Equipment Guidebook. This is approved for use by DPWH. So external guidebooks po for labor and equipment.
Thank you for that, OIC USEC Lara. Thank you for using that. Sa labor, wag yung tipirin labor. I mean, yan ako talaga ibigay sa tao. In fact, sa site ko na naman, yung Antique. Dahil sa pagbaba ng NEP revised, 75% ng mga trabahador, laborers, mawawala ng trabaho sa 2026. So, ganyan kami nagpapaapi. Wag naman, wag naman. So, ang labor, wag natin. Okay yan. Siguro naman walang ghost labor dyan, di ba? Wag naman. Pero yung sabi niyong guidebook, kayo po mga engineers na kakaintindi niyan, kung tama po at hindi po overpriced. Yeah. So, yun lang ang aking, kasi yung materials binaba na, yung ibang mga aspects ng construction, tignan natin kung meron pang mga butas that we allowed it all these years na maari pang makatipid. So yung hinihingi ng chair na savings ay gusto namin makita by this week at para ma-allocate ng maayos. Okay, so Another source of savings, if I may, would be questionable 2025 projects. This has not yet been discussed, I think, although parang hagip kanina you mentioned na yung iba wawasakin kasi nakakasama. So, aside from yung wawasakin, pero sabi niyo pag-aaralan dahil sa COA and all of that, pag dangerous, I believe there's still 1 trillion worth in projects being implemented or na for later release, kung i-release ba yon. So, what do you do with those already being implemented but based on the cost of materials, alam nyo na na-overprice? Dapat mag-renegotiate at dapat ay ibaba yung presyo maski may kontrata dahil pwede naman yan, may mga provisions naman sa Government Procurement Act. Hindi tayo dapat patuloy na magpaloko sa mga nag-overprice at tutuwirin we're just going to straighten out in 2026 while allowing 1 trillion, assuming my figures are correct, worth of projects to be overpriced. While the President has taken a very laudable move, I am certain the President would be happy to hear from the good Secretary how the presently substandard or rigged or overpriced projects, whichever the case is, there could be some savings to be generated. Thank you.
Madam Chair, as I mentioned earlier po, for 2025, for those that have not yet been procured, no, we will apply already the new cost of materials, the lower cost of materials to those. So there will be savings clearly generated from that. For those that have already been awarded and are already ongoing, we will have to consult with the OSG po, Mr. Chairman, Madam Senator, on what course of action can be taken. Unfortunately, I cannot say right now, but we will consult on paano natin mahahabol if kaya yung mga ongoing na at awarded na. But for those na hindi pa, definitely po, we will apply the new cost already. We will not wait for 2026. We will apply the new costs already now. Thank you, Madam Chair.
May we receive, please, from the engineering districts, which are these projects not yet implemented that can generate savings from renegotiated contracts based on the President's advisory on lowering DUPA? And second, ongoing projects, pero alam naman yung linoloko tayo, bago ba yung bagong team pumasok, maaari naman yung i-terminate. Nagawa na nyo sa ibang distrito, di ba?
Yes. In fact, we have terminated several already based on the cases that have been filed, as well as the licenses that have been canceled. So there is a clear process po, Mr. Chairman, Madam Senator, and we've already terminated several already, particularly all the contracts of the Diskaya companies, as well as their joint venture partners, as well as the other companies where we have filed cases, such as Wow, Sims, etc. So we will consult with the Office of the Solicitor General, and we will see paano natin mahahabol ito.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you,
So,
Mr. Chairman.
the DPWH can actually do a sweep of these projects ongoing for 2025, terminate those that it can terminate, or renegotiate for a lower price based on the President's advisory on lower DUPA, so that we can generate more savings bigger than what was already conveyed to us. Okay. May I know the process after the DPWH has given us the estimated savings? It is up to the committee to reallocate it in structures that are certain will not be prone to corruption, right? Mm-mm.
Madam Senator, Mr. Chairman, I think the approach will be to have a special provision in the 2026 budget that because clearly whatever savings we will estimate is still estimated savings, no? Meaning depende pa po yung actual savings kapag yung mga project na yan ay na award na next year, no? Kasi may bidding process pa po yan. So we were suggesting po that a special provision be crafted so that the savings, actual savings generated in 2026 from the DPWH budget will be utilized to fund a very clear menu of projects, of services that of course will come from Congress. No, so I think this is the approach po, because while we can give an estimated amount, it is still estimated, ma'am. Hindi po siya pwede talagang maano. Thank you
If I may,
po.
there are two ways, Mr. Chair. Yung mga sigurado na sila, kasi na-convey na nyo sa news na may savings na kayong 50, tapos yung additional na makocompute po nyo hanggang Biyernes, we have, you as Chair, we have the authority na yun ang pool na paggagamitan sa iba. Pero yung special provision is useful dahil sa karagdagang savings. Pero hindi lahat ipagpaliban sa next year. Yung kaya ng desisyonan dahil na-convey na nyo na may X amount na savings, pwede na rin yun. Yeah. Diba? Kasi
Mr.
alam
Chairman,
natin
we leave it up to
but
the
we
wisdom
leave
of
it-
Congress.
But I leave it to the
Thank you.
judgment of the Chair.
I think, Secretary Senator Lauren, ang pinakamalinis is for those projects to be amended down.
Now na, gusto ko nga ngayon eh.
But
Kasi
you have
special
to tell
provision
us,
gray area.
kasi ang dami, we're talking about 14,000 projects eh. Some of them are low, some of them, based on our analysis, some of them are justified. In fairness, hindi lahat rin overpriced. Marami ring overpriced, no? But for us to go through that 14,000 plus, hindi natin kaya yun, ma'am, because we don't have the manpower and also the technical know-how. But if we can leave it to DPWH to give us those items na talagang obviously mataas, and then based on your new CMPD, pwedeng bumaba, then ibigay nyo na sa amin para i-amend na namin directly in the budget. No? And then we can realize the savings. That is the pinakamalinis na paraan.
Mr. Chairman, Madam Senator, I think, well, just consulting our technical people here, they are telling me that it is virtually impossible po to do that at this point given the limited time available. Na unang-una ho, mahirap po kasing mamili lang ng kung ano ang babawasan, ano ang hindi. Obviously the program of works are different across projects. So it might be virtually impossible for us to do that, no, given the limited time, no. But we will leave it up to the discretion of Congress if you will reduce, no, on a project per project. But I guess we are just being honest that it might be difficult, no, for us to go through all the 14,000 or so, close to 20,000, I think, no, project line items, no. I mean, if this was January or February, I mean, beginning of the budget, I think we can do that. But unfortunately, it might be impossible to do that at this point.
Yeah, but I think the objective, ma'am, is to save, no? So we'll find a way. I'll consult with Senator Lauren and also the member, Senator JV, on how to make that happen. No? Kasi may time constraint tayo eh.
Yes.
We're going to open the TWG this Wednesday. Tuloy-tuloy na yan, no? Tuloy-tuloy na.
Yes, and also, Mr. Chairman, it's also, I think, important to consider as well, no, the reduction in the cost of materials for other agencies as well, no, because that will also be another source of savings as well, no. But again, limited time might be difficult to adjust in the other departments as well. So maybe special provisions to that effect, as you described earlier, might be the most efficient way of doing it. At least for the next year, for 2026. But obviously for 2027, lahat po magbabago na yan.
Submit to us yung CMPD.
Yes,
and
we will
the
submit the CMPD and also the corresponding estimate of the the effect on the capital outlay.
Okay, sige.
Opo.
Okay, sige.
Thank you very much,
Pag-isipan
Mr.
namin.
Chairman.
I'll consult also with our budget experts.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
We recognize Senator Hercito.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Anyway, while waiting for Senator Lauren, actually last week na I already raised my concerns, no. Pero but hearing today, just listening, it's sad to hear that there was really no coordination, no, according to Secretary Dizon, with especially for flood control projects. There was no coordination with DNR because they are the experts doon po sa river basins kung saan pupunta, no, yung flow. Senator Legarda is correct, we cannot fight nature, no, we have to go with it or work with it, no. This strengthens yung ating pong proposal last week, no, and which was supported by Secretary Dizon, yung pong creation ng Department of Water and Resource Management, so that there will be no more disconnect again, no. Dapat yung pong siguro itong itong agency ni Jose Carlo should be with the folded into the new Department of Water Management. It will address yung water scarcity because the world is already because of the growing population, yung pong water is becoming a scarcer resource every day. Tama po sila, no, yung binanggit ni Jose Carlos David, that we should, yung pong dapat, infrastructure will not just divert water and throw it on the ocean. We should, in fact, impound it and restore it so that during the dry season, meron ho tayo pandilig, no? Sabi ko nga, every rainy season, we have abundant supply. Sobra-sobra yung tubig natin. Pero pag dry season, wala naman tayong tubig. And sad to say that there are, Mr. Chair, nakakalungkot na marinig na kay Secretary Dizon mismo that there are some flood control projects that worsened. And from Jose Carlos David also, the situation. Kasi nga, bumilis yung flow ng tubig. Walang pampabagal, walang impounding. So, I think, siguro for na-bash tayo last week, no? Sa mga netizens, sabi lang, creation of water Department of Water, dapat may Department of Fire daw and soil and everything. But this is not a laughing matter. I think water is getting scarcer every day the world over, and I think yung flood control, management of water has to be under one full-fledged department para hindi na ito maulit muli. We have seen, Mr. Chair, yung disconnect, no, na nakakalungkot na Secretary Dizon already said na coming from him, that most of the projects had no coordination with the Water Resource Management Office. Sila po yung merong expertise, no, kung saan po yung daloy ng river basins and all. So, yun, Sec Dizon, thank you very much for your support, no, for two bills that I have in mind, no, yung master plan for infrastructure and national development, and also yung a lot of our colleagues filed yung pong creation of Department of Water and Resource Management. I think this is timely, no. Una-una, maano na natin tubig natin, we will use it wisely and at the same time prevent yung pong nangyaring mga floodgates scandal from happening. Anyway, doon po sa the President said that 250 billion of flood control project will be realigned to other programs, most especially social programs, no. So, but there will still be 100 billion, Sec Dizon, that will be used, o wala na talagang totally.
Mr. Chairman, wala na po. Ang matitira lang po for flood control are the foreign assisted projects assisted by JICA, ADB, and World Bank, roughly about 15 billion pesos.
So the entire 250 billion will be realigned for a social program. Ang ko lang doon, Mr. Chair, because government spending, especially for infrastructure, is a driver for economic growth, di ba? Siguro maganda, I would like to propose to the President, if given the chance, that probably half of the 250 billion be still used for infrastructure, specifically for, halimbawa, since DPWH ay still undergoing reforms, hanggang di pa tapos, pwede ilagay sa DOTR to. Total, galing naman si Sec Dizon sa DOTR. For airports, for ports, and other economic drivers in infrastructure, at least tuloy-tuloy po yung spending natin for infra, and it will also have returns. Kasi hindi naman sa pagano, Mr. Chair, kung ilalagay lahat natin to sa IU.AX, there's no return. Diba? Iba yung infrastructure because this is an investment for the future, to stimulate economic growth, to create growth areas. So yun po yung ano ko siguro, no? Meron akong breakdown dito siguro, half of it nilagay natin sa DOTR for ports, airports, and other major infra. Oh, dapat infra din, di ba? Mr. Chair, para hindi sayang, para yung, as I said, the multiplier effect, yung economic drivers, dapat tuloy pa rin. Siguro, DOTR would get half probably. Siguro, for social programs na gusto ni Presidente, at least may impact po. For health, okay po ako doon, no? MAIP, PhilHealth, that is really felt by the people, no? Kasi kung AX lang, ang hirap doon, hindi natin, that's cash. It's also prone to temptation, no? Mas okay ni MAIP direktang na tulong. And also, Mr. Chairman, siguro Sen. Loren will agree. Yung one time, big time lang tayo magkakaroon 250 billion na biglang, meron tayong that we can use for other programs na dati pangarap lang, no? We can fund MAIP, we can add for MAIP, UAC, PhilHealth, and HFEP, no? Lalo na improvement of hospitals, no? All over. Of course, i-balance na natin. Department of National Defense, talagang pangarap na lang talaga yung EFP modernization. But with this, lagyan natin ng a few billions for yung ating multi-role fighters, especially with the situation now with the West Philippine Sea. Coast Guard, ang laki nito, 250 billion eh. No? But glad to hear that meron pa rin namang flood control projects, yung po mga foreign assistance. So hopefully by next year, we can resume na maayos na kasi we cannot, hindi rin naman natin pwedeng i-sacrifice to for the next 2 to 3 years. Otherwise, kawawa rin yung mga kababayan nating malulubog. So, yun po. Again, we'd like to thank Secretary Dizon for the support for yung pong master plan natin na measure, and also yung pong project, yung ating Department of Water Management, Resource Management. I think it's already timely, no, na magkaroon na ng coordination, no, and planning that ang banggit nga ni Senator Loren, dapat nature-based, no, hindi yung engineering-based lamang, at yung district ang nasusunod dati. Nakakalungkot pero parang yung mga pinresent kanina ni Jose Carlos David, may mga hindi nakakonekta, no, yung mga binanggit ko last hearing. There are some projects na talagang pinroject lang na at least it was confirmed, no, that there are dikes na wala namang pinoproteksyon ng community. May nakita rin po akong seawall, sinumbong ko na rin kay Secretary Dizon, seawall na napakalaki. Hindi mo na makita yung dagat, wala naman din pinoproteksyon ng community. So, that's all, Mr. Chair. I just gave you my observations this afternoon. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I may
Yes,
po.
go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, Senator JV. Let me just reiterate what the President's directive was when he instructed to remove the 250 plus billion from flood control. Ang priority po talaga niya, obviously, yung PhilHealth, 60 billion, I think, roughly. And of course, yung ating pong mga social programs. Pero sa infrastructure naman po, sinabi din po niya, no, kasama ang ating mga school buildings, kasama ho ang ating mga farm-to-market roads, at kasama din po ang ibang mga programa ng DOTR, pati na rin po ang Department of Energy. So, ano naman po, no, wide-ranging naman po ang kanyang mga sinuggest na I think reflect na rin po ng lower house General Appropriations Bill. Thank you very much again, Mr. Chairman.
I agree
Senator
with
JV.
Senator JV na yung matitipid natin sa infra, dapat malipat sa infra rin. No, because infra has a tremendous multiplier effect. Alam ni Secretary Dizon yan eh. And kung hindi natin ililipat sa infra yan, mawawala yung multiplier effect, Senator JV. So, I agree that we can, pag sinabi naman infra, kasama dito airports, seaports, no, other transportation modalities. Maybe this is the time to look for some projects in the transportation sector, which the secretary headed once upon a time. No, so thank you for that intervention, Senator JV. Senator Lauren.
Just to note that there is no need for a special provision for the GAA 2026 because it is already in the general provision of the GAA that the agency may augment their savings, and the savings is already defined in the GAA. Yes. So nandyan na. And DBM is here, right? Tama. Yeah.
Secretary Dizon wants to specify yung savings dapat pumunta sa specific project.
Opo.
I think that is the
Ma-
concept.
Yes, Mr. Chair, Madam Senator, you're absolutely correct po under the general provisions. But under the general provisions, from what I understand, the savings generated will be limited for use within the DPWH. Maybe, yeah. So,
Paki-clarify,
kasi yun
DBM.
po ang pagkakaintindi. Kasi
ASEC, go ahead. ASEC.
ASEC,
kung gano'n, hindi magagamit
Mary
sa
Ann,
iba.
specify yung general provision, paliwanag po ninyo para malaman po natin kung kailangan pa ng special provision maliban sa general provision, pero sang-ayon ako sa sinabi ng chair na yung kaya nang masave ngayon, i-reallocate na natin sa ibang infrastruktura, at ang aming bias, aaminin ko, ay edukasyon para sa school building. Kasi pwede naman kayo, kasi kayo naman gumagawa, multi-purpose building / school building. Pero paliwanag po ninyo yung sinabi nyo na hindi na kailangan, pero baka kailangan ng special.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Chair. As far as the savings are concerned, if we are looking at the savings ng DPWH and it wanted to use it ng within DPWH rin lang and within the same activity, then we're talking about modification lang. And the approval of that is within the DBM. That's provided for under the general provisions. But if we're thinking of augmentation, meaning making use of the savings to another activity of the DPWH or another activity of a different agency, then we would be needing the approval from the Office of the President. So we term that as augmentation. That's why we say that the special provision will no longer be required for as long as the definition of savings are within what is provided for also under the general provisions, Mr. Chair.
Kasi pag DOTR, oo, kailangan ng OP. So kailangan ng special. Pag DepEd, kailangan ng special. Pero actually DepEd hindi kasi sila naman ang gagawa. Pwede ng multi-purpose / school building, it will stay with them. Oh, okay. So
Yes,
mas simple
yes,
pag
Mr.
DepEd. I'm sure gusto ng mga kasamahan ko pag school building. Mm-mm. Oo. Oo naman. Sige. Kung mga bata, siksikan sa mga classroom. Sige. Okay, thank you. Sa classroom kanina, yung single facility na classroom. Magkano ba talaga? Kasi pinag-usapan natin yung health center, pinag-usapan natin yung FMR. It was observed that classrooms built as a single facility, let's say, one classroom building, magkano ba talaga pag DPWH? And how do you measure it per square meter? Given the same kind of materials?
Yeah. Mr. Chair, Madam Senator, I'll ask OIC Undersecretary Lara to respond. But again, let me just place a caveat that the numbers she will tell you are still the old numbers. These will decrease drastically within the next week or so because of our adjustments in the cost of materials. Undersecretary, please.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon po again. For the estimate, we use po cost per square meter. So I'll just Apo, I'll give a range from different regions. It's ranging from 24,000 to 33,700 per square meter for the previous CMPD.
Know very well that from the private sector, yung Chinese chamber nga 8,000 pero baka naman iba yung materials doon. So walang tax ng profit. Sabi mo na mga lahati. Ewan ko, hindi ako engineer pero sigurado ako mas mababa diyan. So kung yung DepEd school building program ay 28.056 billion, so sa estimate ng DPWH ay this will cover 12,000 classrooms. Kung ikakalahati mo yan, you will have 10,627 more classrooms, but this would be depending if we use a lower unit cost to 1.2 million. That perhaps, Mr. Chair, can be discussed in a technical working group because we're talking about costs. These are just estimates. So, ibig sabihin, yung sinabi po ni OIC Yusek Clara ay sabihin mo ng mga lahati, sabihin mo na conservative 40%, so i-compute po ninyo yung square meters ng classroom, lalaki ang numero ng classroom. Tama ba ho? Oo. Pangalawa po, yung savings na sinabi po ni Chair kanina na gusto niya ngayon na i-allocate, wag na ipa-savings, wag na pag-antayin ng mga tao, yung sa kay Presidente pa lang ay 50B na yon, assuming lang sa classrooms para hindi na umalis sa DPWH, hindi na OP approval, it will be multipurpose slash school buildings, i-increase si number of classrooms maliban sa pag-slash ng 40% ng cost. So, more than the 10,627 more classrooms, si 50 billion pa, assuming hindi mapunta nga sa AIX at sa iba-iba, na mahaba pa ang proseso, mag-OP approval pa if it stays with them. So that's just my sincere and honest and well-meaning recommendation, and I would assume pag classroom, hindi naman siguro mandadaya, hindi naman siguro mag-ghost, hindi naman sigurong subject to anomalya o corruption, at magiginhawahan ang ating sektor na basic education. Yun po ang aking katanungan. Yeah. Okay, Mr. Chair.
Lumabas lang po si Secretary, but before he left, he's aligned with your observation, Senator Lauren, when it comes to the possible use, which is to utilize that for the classroom, Mr. Chair.
The other questions would be dependent kasi on their submission of the allocable and non-allocable in the NEP revised of September. And it would be dependent also on the savings that you can already compute. Oo. So, I leave it to the chair what to do. Kasi we cannot work on assumptions. Gusto natin ay fact-based. At yung pangatlo, talaga yung i-mainstream natin ang water studies at nature-based solutions para may pagbabago. So, hindi lang po yung pagbaba ng dupa at pababa ng cost, at saka yung mungkahi ko po na hindi lang yung cost of materials, kundi yung iba pang cost, maski na alam natin, hindi naman dinadaya yan, silipin na rin natin, wala naman masamang sumilip sa lahat, di ba po? Yeah.
Mr. Chair, Madam Senator, you have our commitment to do that as well. Mr. Chairman, sorry, we just realized that Friday is a holiday, so we will submit by Thursday afternoon. Well,
The Friday is 31.
Friday,
It's a
tama
holiday.
si Director Alex. Friday is holiday. 30.
Anyway, we will submit, but definitely at the latest by Friday, if not earlier po.
The foreign assisted projects are seemingly successful. So, may I just know what's the difference and why don't we use those doing the foreign assisted projects in auditing and monitoring all the local infrastructure projects? Thank you.
May I respond to that? That's a great question po, Mr. Chairman. First of all, the reason for the success of the foreign assisted projects is that they are well planned. I think that is the foundation that is lacking in what we have seen, in the past years. That foreign assisted projects are well planned, backed up by a very solid feasibility study, backed up by very serious detailed engineering work, and may plano po talaga. And obviously monitored by the funders, by the lending institutions. That's why it's very successful. Now, to the question, can the locally funded projects be implemented or monitored by the team that does the foreign assisted projects? That is quite difficult, Mr. Chairman, because of the sheer volume of locally funded projects on a district level. And the UPMO, who is in charge of the foreign assisted, kakaunti lang po talaga sila. There are really a handful of engineers that handle a handful of projects, albeit very big projects, but this is also with the support of the foreign lending institutions. But I think there is great wisdom in the question of Senator Loren, because I think that is how, even on a smaller scale, how locally funded projects should be done. From the planning stage to the budgeting stage to the procurement to the implementation and monitoring stage, we should find a way to mirror the processes in the foreign assisted projects and apply them to the locally funded projects. And that would mean obviously involving all the district engineering offices, all the regional offices. No? So yun po, and I think that is part of what we want to do, no, as the new team begins the rollout of the reforms moving forward. Thank you po.
Galing. Oo, kaya, yeah, yes. Oo, kaya nga eh. So, magaling yung mga yan. Kaya, hindi, magkagaling utak. Magaling. Kaya, magaling yung dalawa kong yan eh. Kaya ako makulit ha, magaling yung mga nasa likod eh. NEDA at ERC yan eh. Oo. Kambal utak. Sige. Okay. International institutions can do sampling of all. Pwede natin subukan sa 2026, di ba? Para, at saka pwede nyong i-bid out and manage the third-party auditors. So, maski na maliit lang yung ating foreign assisted group, iilan, i-bid out nyo, i-monitor. Oo. Sayang eh. Kasi kung
Yes, ma'am, we
nangyayari
agree.
sa bansa may maaayos, di i-emplo natin yung maayos. Kung di kaya ng maliit na grupo yung maayos, at least iilang project maayos. Di ba? And then I take note
Thank
of
you for
your
that, ma'am.
answer. Tama si Senator Ping mula sa simula na lahat ng projects naman ay dapat dumaan either sa RDC at may feasibility study At hindi naman sapat na may request ng LGU kasi maaling yung request niya, hindi naman na-vet. Kaya kailangan may feasibility study talaga. Yun.
We absolutely
Yeah,
agree,
yeah.
Mr. Chairman, Senator Lauren, we agree.
Isa pang napansin ko, multi-year projects. Kung hindi amend ng senator, pupunta yung congressman sa amin o yung mayors, hindi magkukusa ang ahensya, hindi lang kayo at unfinished siya. Or, ang liit-liit ng ilalagay ng DPWH, hindi na matutuloy, bitin siya. Bakit ganun? It's a multi-year project of the department. Dapat, maski wala kaming intervention na amendment, kayo na ang kusa, tinatapos nyo. Kaya tuloy, all over the country, either vertical or horizontal structure or roads leading to hinterland areas, natitigil. Bakit kami kailangan mag-amend ng something nanggagaling naman sa inyo sa region o sa central na maayos naman para sa taong bayan? Kung hindi, napakaliit ng ilalagay sa NEP. Pero, ang lalaking budget, yung mga hindi pinag-isipan at may sponsor or proponent. Pero yung multi-year, lalapit sa akin yung LGU or congressman or even the agency, ang liit ng linagay sa multi-year, ma'am, kailangan to kasi, ano yun, mayowa, etc., etc. Bakit ganyan? Basta, maliit, ganon. Ang hirap parang wala talagang planning. Very arbitrary.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tama po kayo, Mr. Chairman, tama po again si Senator Lauren. And this is something we really want to correct. And in fact, this was one of the first conversations I had with the new Undersecretary for Planning, that in the planning stages, in the budgeting stages, we must really prioritize projects that remain to be unfinished, incomplete projects. Kailangan po, kumbaga po, in the hierarchy of projects na dapat pondohan given limited funds, dapat po inuunang pondohan yung mga hindi pa tapos. Hindi putol na tulay, putol na kalye, bitin na building na munisipyong walang second floor, baka lang. And I think marami pong putol na tulay. In fact, I saw several already in my less than 2 months in DPWH. Bitin po.
Bridge to nowhere.
Hindi nga, Mr. Chairman, hindi nga po bridge to nowhere. Bridge to somewhere, pero for example po, meron po kaming pinuntahan sa Arayat. May inimbestigahan kaming flood control doon, no? Tapos, dinaga kami nung isang mayor sa isang bridge. Putol po yung bridge, kalahati. Kalahati tapos, kalahati wala. 10 years na pong putol, Mr. Chairman. 10 years. So, kaya nga po ngayon, nagkukumahugo kami, naghahanap po kami ng savings para po sana mapondohan namin yung bridge na yun sa Arayat at iba pang mga bridges all over the country na bitin. So, I mean, this is a recurring problem. It's very, very arbitrary. There's no rhyme or reason why this project gets this much, this project gets a small amount, and that needs to change.
There is rhyme and reason. Kung sino malapit sa kusina, Halloween na sila. Kung sino malapit sa kusina, kung sino hindi humihingi or humihinging hindi nabibigyan, ayun.
Nabibitin.
Kaya hindi pwede. Arbitrary
It cannot be
Dapat
arbitrary
may
po.
siyensya.
And it needs to be, needs-based po talaga. And I think the primary need, sabi nga po ng Pangulo sa akin, let's use all the money we have remaining to just finish unfinished projects. To complete unfinished projects. Yun po ang pinaka-importante. Thank you po.
Sen. Lauren, that's also the advice that we gave DOH doon sa HFEP Center JV kasi ang daming unfinished health centers, rural health centers, even hospital, sayang. Nakabitin na for many years. Sayang.
Actually, ipakompute natin, ayan, sa kada ahensya ng gobyerno, ang mga unfinished or tapos pero unused, nako, ilang trilyon yan. Sinayang natin ang pera. Hindi lang, to be fair, hindi lang DPWH. Okay, I was just meeting with, housing, dati chair ka, James. si Sec Aliling, bago siya, sinabi niya, sabi ko, bigyan mo nga akong listahan ng NHA projects. NHA, natapos yung mga bahay, yung intended beneficiaries ayaw tumira sa bahay dahil malayo, bakit pinagawan? Pero pinasukan na ng informal settlers na hindi naman otorisadong tumira doon. So hindi naman nila mabigay sa informal settlers na tumitira sa bahay sa intended, makukuha naman sila. So we have a squatter problem in NHA and the intended beneficiaries are still squatters or informal settlers. So, if I may, there's really so much wastage systems loss, substandard, unutilized, underutilized, by running by the trillions of pesos, Mr. Chair. So, I agree with you, whether it's DPWH or DOH, which you build, or DepEd classrooms, tapusin natin or bridges to somewhere, but maybe the proponent already is not in office, right? Ganon eh. So, that's my, I won't say yun lang, that's what I noticed. I have to amend the multi-year. Trabaho yan ng ahensya. Lalapit sa amin, hindi po na pondo, nasabihin ng district engineer at sa region, hindi po kami narinig sa central, kayo na lang po pag-asa namin para umabot yung kalsada doon. Alam yata ni Alpruto ang ibig ko sabihin. O ganon. Tapos, lalagyan ng token. Ang liit-liit amount, 10 million, 20 million para matapos. Sabi ko, siguro maski 100 years akong senator, hindi matatapos. Kasi hindi ako mihingi eh. Sabi ko, kami nga ngayon, kung hindi na kami allowed mag-amend, kundi institutional, wala na. So, yung kalsada, hindi matatapos kung di kami allowed mag-amend. Yeah. So, it's incumbent upon the agency, not just DPWH, to finish what they started, whether the proponent is an incumbent or not. Kasi syempre, the fact na pinondohan, at hindi to mga flood control, talagang infra, napondohan, kailangan tuloy-tuloy hanggang matapos. Huwag kami intayin mag-amend. Yun.
Mr. Chairman, we
Sige,
could not
thank you.
agree we could not agree more with the honorable senator's observations. Kung kailangan ang trabaho po ng ahensya, tapusin kung ano ang inumpisahan niya. Unfortunately, hindi po ganoon ang nangyayari. Hopefully that will change now. Opo. Maraming salamat po. Maraming salamat.
Well, just Friday is the submission.
Yes,
Secretary.
Mr. Chairman, if I may be allowed to just recap or summarize po what we need to submit just
Yes,
to be
yes,
sure.
please.
So we will be submitting po additional stationing for the initially identified projects and also additional validation and justification if we are able to find the justification and the validation. But we will also add the new projects po that also do not have the required detail. No, I think roughly about 1,500, if I'm not mistaken, additional projects. No, tama ba? 15, 14. Opo. So we will strive to do that by Friday, Mr. Chairman. Again, I will reiterate, kung hindi po validate, ma-justify at mabigyan ng detalye yung mga line item, please po, we give the committee the liberty to please remove those projects from the list of projects in the DPWH 2026 budget. Second po, by tomorrow, we will submit po the request of the Honorable Senator Ligarda for the list of the districts under the resubmitted NEP, revised NEP, and also, whatever the terminology is, no.
So, you there are issues and you issues issues with the implementation of the contractor, you may have power to terminate. So we talked about 2025 projects funded. Either you renegotiate or you have the power to terminate if they are flood control projects or asphalting or whatever projects na questionable sa implementation ng mga contractor. And are you suggesting to terminate? Will you terminate? And if you will not terminate, what is the remedial measure you will do why you will not terminate? In short, we're putting everyone on stricto tayo ngayon, hindi pa 2026. But wala pa kayo noong 2020 pag ginawa yung GAA 2025, pero pinapanood nyo sila ngayon at husayon yan. To terminate natin, hindi natin terminate, pero repeat job ito, or sige, terminate, may savings tayo. So I leave it to your better judgment, but maybe a list of that so we can also study for possible savings.
Mr. Chairman, Senator, what we can submit by Friday, I think, is the list of those that are either unimplementable already or that have been terminated already. As for those that we can terminate, this might be a little tricky because we still need to talk to the, obviously, to the Office of the Solicitor General to determine that, and that will require, again, we're talking about, I don't know, like 20,000 projects for this year that we have to sift through. That might not be possible for Friday, ma'am. But we...
Whatever you can for Friday. At hindi na kailangan OSG, you have the power kasi sa Government Procurement Act, nakita naman nyo eh. At saka kung na-terminate niya yung ibang mukhang questionable, meron kayong power to terminate kung linoloko tayo at saka sinabi na ni Presidente, ibaba yung dupa, pero ang sigil pa rin niya, let's say, sa construction material sa bridge na ito, triple. Kaya mo yun. Hindi kailangan ng OSG yun. Oo.
Ma'am, kasi well, obviously for those that are already contracted, that was already the basis of the budget, and the contract price was already established under the old or the existing cost of materials. So there are clearly legal issues there, so we will need to talk to the OSG about that. But for those that we have terminated or about to terminate for costs, we can provide that list by Friday.
Perhaps we can generate reports since from your district engineers or from our people on the ground, yung mga sumbong sa Senado na mga dapat i-terminate. I mean, without looking at political color, of course.
Yes,
Baka
we can
meron,
marami pong sumbong. Kung
Yeah,
sumbong lang pong
actually,
pag-uusapan. No, sa sumbong sa Pangulo po, I think 20,000 na yung nagsumbong doon. No, but again, that will require some time to sift through. But finally, Mr. Chairman, ma'am, the last thing we will submit, which is very important, is the revised CMPD, the revised cost of materials, and then the estimated potential savings for 2026. So we will submit all of those by Friday, Mr. Chairman, Senator.
Nomenclature that's allowed in the GAA for school buildings and classroom that will still fall under your department.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So which is multipurpose buildings / school building. Yes.
Oo,
We will
kung
provide
ano
that
yung
as well.
gamit, kasi hindi bawal yun.
Opo.
Para wag nang ililipat, tapos babalik.
Tama po.
Yeah, mas efficient.
Tama po.
Yeah.
Thank you
And,
so much po.
Sa lahat ng nanonood po, hindi po namin kayo, sa mga tanong po namin na inaaral namin ang budget, hindi po namin kayo pinahirapan. It's really, we take seriously the mandate and yung pronouncements ni Presidente na ayusin, limited ang fiscal space. Nakita natin, dahil sa eagle eyes ng chair, naparami. Diba? Naparami ang classroom, naparami ang kilometro ng FMR, naparami sa pagtutulungan ng lahat. So, we're here to help. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the patience of Sec Dizon and the whole team. Mr. Chair, salamat.
Thank you. There being no further questions, the budget of the Department of Public Works and Highways is now deemed submitted for plenary's consideration, subject to the discussion and the submission of documents requested. So maraming salamat, Secretary. Thank you very much.
Maraming salamat po. Thank you so much.
The hearing is suspended.
Thank you, sir. Thank you po.